Welcome back. You're still watching Technoholik. Now that we know that the new iPad is one heck of a device, the iPad wouldn't be all that without its app ecosystem. With the new Retina display, how is it going to affect your app experience? What will developers have to do? To answer all of this, we have Vishal Gondal, CEO of India Games, on the show today. Vishal has been an iPad man since the first iPad, and India Games makes some pretty awesome games like Bruce Lee and also IPL for iOS. Vishal, thank you so much for coming on Technoholik. First off, you've been developing apps for the iPad. So what do you think of the new iPad and the Retina display?
I think clearly this is the best screen available for any tablet device in the world. From the perspective of resolution, from the perspective of the graphic processing speed, I think the 1 GB RAM and the chip and the quad core and their graphic chipset is pretty much the state of the art. I think there was a time when the Tegra chipset from NVIDIA and there were certain other chipsets which were better than the iPad 2 in terms of performance, but I think the iPad 3 takes it to a completely different level. So I think clearly what it means for app developers is that we will be able to deliver a much superior app consuming experience for our users, and plus the camera resolution, the higher end camera resolution is going to help a lot of other apps, especially which are going to use the video or the camera features, because right now the iPad 2 definitely lacked in the camera resolution.
So what does this mean for developers now? What hurdles will you face with the upgrade process? And since the iPad only has a limited amount of storage, app sizes are going to go up. What does this mean for the user?
Actually, it's not about whether the storage is, the storage is not that much of an issue. I think people will have to create smarter apps and use techniques which are able to get us higher resolution images. So for example, a lot of the uses vector graphics and not raster graphics, and vector graphics can be easily scaled to higher resolution. So I think clearly it means that we need to be using smarter development techniques and getting very high quality apps. I think the second and the most important thing is that a lot of people who bought the iPad 1 and did not upgrade to the iPad 2 because there was no resolution difference between 1 and 2. But I think 3 is really the generation leap which people saw when they bought the iPhone 3G and the 4, where they first introduced the Retina display. And today, if you really look at it, that if you start consuming apps on the 4, the iPhone 4 versus the 3, which is not the Retina display, you can clearly see the difference. So I think the consumers are going to be spoilt for choices. They'll be seeing some amazing quality apps, and this is going to force developers to only deliver better.
Spoiled for choice indeed. Vishal, many users, including me, want to know, with the new display, does it mean that I will have to re-download my apps or just hit the update in the App Store?
So, normally what we used to do is we used to create universal apps, which is the same app which could work on different screen sizes. I think there could be a potential problem there. What it used to do was, make the app size much larger, because we had to package assets of the iPhone and the iPad into the same package. And if you are an iPhone owner, you don't want to download a 100 MB file just because there are other elements. So I think clearly, and of course that will also increase the cost. So what I really see is that universal apps will become more and more challenging, and we will have to release HD version separate and iPhone version, and maybe double HD when it comes to the iPad 4. So I think this is going to lead to clearly, in my opinion, different apps for these devices and not the same app.
And finally, before we let you go, Vishal, what will be the Android community's next move to counter the new iPad? Just new displays now.
See, the problem with Android tablet is the fragmentation, and today you can get a tablet for 2,000 rupees to 20,000 rupees, and there's everything there. And now, even though some Android tablets, I'm sure, are going to come back with features and options better than this, the biggest problem still remains with Android is that they just can't match the apps or the quality of apps which are available on the App Store. So while even though they may match or even better the iPad and the iPhone from a technical specs perspective, I think the Android market still faces with the challenge of quality apps.
Vishal Gondal there, CEO of India Games. Thank you so much for giving us the developer side of the iPad equation. So remember folks, app sizes are going to go up, but they're going to look better. And since the download limit over Wi-Fi has increased to 50 MB, it's a small price to pay, I guess. But if you are an Android fan and don't want to buy the new iPad, there are a couple of tablets releasing this year. Here's the complete list.
It's not just the new iPad which will make waves in 2012 in the tablet segment. There is also cutthroat competition in the Android tablet space as well. So let's give you a roundup of soon expected tablets in the Indian market this year. First up is Huawei with their Huawei MediaPad 10 FHD. It will be powered by a quad-core processor and will run Android 4.0 Ice Cream Sandwich. It also has a 1.5 GHz K3 quad-core processor and sports a 10-inch 1920 into 1200 pixel IPS display. Dolby surround sound technology, HSPA Plus connectivity, 2 GB RAM, 8 megapixel rear camera and secondary front-facing 1.3 megapixel camera are its other specifications. MediaPad 10 FHD will hit the market sometime in the second quarter of 2012. Next is the Asus Transformer Prime Infinity 700. The tablet will have two variations, the first being the 1.6 GHz Tegra 3 powered Wi-Fi version only, and the second being a 1.5 GHz Snapdragon Crate powered LTE version. The Transformer Pad Infinity 700 will sport a 10.1-inch 1920 to 1200 Super IPS Plus display and will run Android 4.0 Ice Cream Sandwich. It will also come in three sizes including a 16GB, 32GB and a 64GB version. Pricing is not yet confirmed, however, it will launch sometime in the second quarter of 2012. Third anticipated tablet to come in India is the new Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1. The Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1 will be shipped bundled with a smart pen and will be accompanied by applications such as Smart Note, Adobe Photoshop Touch and Ideas. The Galaxy Note 10.1 will be powered by a dual-core processor clocked at 1.4 GHz and will also support HSPA Plus connectivity. Samsung is yet to reveal this tablet's release date and pricing. Last expected tablet to hit the tablet market this year would be the Asus Pad phone. The 3-in-1 gadget is powered by a dual-core 1.5 GHz Scorpion processor, which helps power the Android Ice Cream Sandwich operating system on it. The entire tablet runs on a processor from the smartphone and hence you can only use one device at a time. The tablet comes with a 10.1-inch screen and plugs into a detachable keyboard like in the Transformer Pad series. The device is expected to launch somewhere in the last quarter of this year.
Time for our second break on the show, but on the other side, we get you all the news of the week.